Gangstas. So right now, the moon is at 81.3% illumination in the sign of Capricorn, headed towards that third quarter moon in Aquarius tomorrow. So let's see how this earth and air energy is going to be affecting you. See kind of who you are and what you need to hear at this time. Alright, we have Pleiadians. Unconditional love, excitement, and laughter. I love this card for you. This is very beautiful. Very spring energy. Seeing all the butterflies makes me think of like that maturation that happens, you know, as we grow, as we work through things, as we heal. Seeing all the flowers. In tarot, flowers represent abundance, right? So I'm seeing this feeling of like emotional abundance inside of you. Whether that's now or in your near future, we'll find out. We've got the pentagram. This is harmony, protection, and idealism. And what I love about the pentagram is, if you see, the star is actually the shape of a human body, right? Each point is like the point of our limbs, right? The hands, the feet, the head, you know, so it's the 5 major points. And with that circle of protection around it, it's very symbolic to me of, you know, divine protection. It's very symbolic of, you know, being kind of wrapped in that protection. Not so much that it's like being surrounded by, you know, a spiritual gang that's there to protect your ass. I love this. Feeling protected, spiritually protected, makes you feel a little invincible, at least from my experience. Sometimes too much so, right? I've gotten an attitude with the divine. And they had to put me back down to my place, you know. Well, I'm going to use my Muse Tarot deck because there's a lot of energy here of feeling inspired. And the imagery of this deck just really goes really well with the energy I'm getting from the cards I pulled from the Oracle. So, let's see it. Let's talk about it. Alright. Very cryptic start. So we've got the 4 of Cups in reverse. The 4 of Cups in the upright is about rejection, right? It's about turning down an offer or not paying attention to it. In the reverse, this is acceptance, right? This is about either accepting an offer, an opportunity, or accepting a situation for what it is. I'm actually going to clarify as I go because I want more clarity on that before I talk about the next card that I got. So, 4 of Cups in reverse. Yeah, with the 10 of Wands in reverse, this really represents to me that whatever it is that you're accepting is really going to take the toll off of you. It's going to really help you to let go of emotional baggage, right? The things that limit you, the things that make you feel held back. It's really going to take like the load off. I'm imagining like Apollo, you know, how he's like holding up the heavens. I'm seeing like that imagery, but like when Hercules takes the load off and he's like carrying the heavens for Apollo. And so I'm really feeling that, you know, there's something here that's really going to be making you feel lighter, that's going to make you feel better. And it has to do with something that, with some acceptance. It could also have to do with accepting an offer. So let's dive down. We've got the Four of Swords in reverse. This is a time of action for you. This is a time of doing things, right? This is not a time for getting your rest and relaxation. You're being called to action in your life in some way. So let's get clarity on that. What kind of action are you being called to? Alright, so let's see. Doop, doop, doop. With the World Cosmos, this is closing out old cycles. This is closing out a past way of doing things, a past way of being. This could also be a call to travel, right? There could be something in traveling that could be you know, important to your path here. Especially with you being called to action, seeing that show up. It's very important. With the Two of Swords in reverse, I'm seeing defensiveness go away, right? Like no longer being defensive, no longer like in a state of mind of needing to protect your energy, or, you know, yeah, it's almost like feeling renewed, emotionally renewed, where you're able to allow yourself vulnerability. But it doesn't feel sad. It doesn't feel like a sad vulnerability. It feels like just this openness and this willingness to like take life as it comes, and to like see, you know, where it's leading you and what's next on the agenda for you, right? We have the Queen of Wands. She is the most envied queen in the entire deck. And I feel that this is the role that you're really being called to, right? To do what inspires you, to dive into your creativities. I do feel a very creative nature about you. And this could have to do with like art and projects. But there's, you know, this energy. The Queen of Wands, she's a creator. She's always making things. She's doing things. She inspires people. She's the muse queen, right? She's the one that gets the ball rolling. And so I feel that you're really being called to tap into this aspect of your higher self. All right. What do you need to know about your journey going forward? Alright, it's funny that this card came out because I was like, I'm not going to talk about romance unless it comes up. Because, you know, there was that energy of acceptance, accepting an offer. Well, I'm seeing an offer, right? Coming from the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is a love offer, particularly. And I'm seeing, you know, this horse is kind of playing in the water, right? And water and tarot represents emotions. And so I'm seeing somebody like dipping their toes in their emotions. Somebody really weighing out like how they feel. Willing to like try these feelings on for size a little bit. So I definitely feel that there is somebody who's going to be coming in to make an offer, or somebody who's going to show you some kind of romantic gesture in the near future. The Six of Swords, this could be somebody that you've walked away from. this could be somebody that you've left in the past. Or this could mean that you have to walk away from something else in order to go there. So let's get more clarity on that. Yeah, you might have to close out a cycle with the Ace of Swords in reverse. Could be walking away from something in order to go in that direction. Or you might be very back and forth on if this is the direction that you want to go. It's easy to get drunk on feelings. It's easy to like get consumed by them, right? Because like feelings, like that initial spark when you start catching feelings for somebody, what happens in the brain is you've got norepinephrine, oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. You got all this shit just going off in your brain, right? Just boom, 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 firing off neurons. And so you literally feel like you're on drugs, right? But the best kind of drugs, because this is like, you don't need to actually pay for this drug, right? You pay in other ways. You pay in other ways. When the honeymoon phase, you know, dissipates and then and those drugs wear off in your brain, you know, then you start seeing, you know, the reality of, is this a situation that I want to stay in? Is this, you know, the direction I want to continue going on? Or was I just drunk on love? You know, was I just feeling all that? So you know, these feelings come with that cost, where at the end of it, you're like, is this, am I going to consistently pursue love even when those feelings aren't as extreme, right? Even when all that shit wears off and, you know, the blindfold's off and you see them completely naked as they are, you know what I mean, spiritually naked, then you decide, like, is this what is for me? And so my best advice, as somebody who has failed at love, right? My best advice for you is to really think about how this synchronizes in your life, right? Is this a person or a situation that fits into the flow of your life, or something that tries to pull you out of the flow of your life? And that will really help you to make the best decisions in regards to what you pursue, who you pursue. Because, you know, a lot of the times you'll have these great feelings with somebody, but you realize that they pull you away from everything that's important to you. And then a sacrifice has to be made, and you know it's going to be them because you can't live without the things that are super important to you. And nor should you, right? That should be a boundary. Certain things are untouchable in your life. And so what I feel with this is, you know, be very discerning in the direction you choose to go. You might have more than one offer, right? And it usually comes in threes. Okay, everything comes in threes. It's funny how that works, right? Bad shit comes in threes. Good shit comes in threes. So if you start noticing that, you know, somebody has a romantic interest in you, expect that there's going to be at least three. And I know that sounds crazy, but due to my data, it's you know, it's been pretty factual. And you might get to a point where you're like, you don't want any of the options, or you like the options at hand, however, they don't like flow into your life or your flow very well, or you're already so distracted with what you got going on in your life that, you know, they either have to be fully immersed in it with you or it wouldn't work. And so there's that, you know, there are a lot of options, a lot of things to consider when deciding to enter into any kind of partnership. And the first thing you should consider is, how does it feel? How does it feel? And, you know, like, I've had to set down some pretty damn good opportunities. Not because I want to, you know, but because my life is like in a current, and I just felt like every time I tried to reach out of the current to connect there, it was like the current would keep dragging me, and they're not in the current. And so, you know, and so, you know, there have been situations like that where it's like there's not really a reason not to pursue it, other than, you know, life is just crazy and you've got to, you know, focus on the most important things first. And it's funny because in your 30s, I feel like you realize that love is not the most important thing first when it comes, you know, romantic love, I should say. It's like if you have kids, that comes first. If you have a career or dream, that comes second, you know. And then everything else can kind of fall into place as it can. But it's important that we prioritize in our lives what it is that is the most important to us. And I know that can seem unfair to some people, because they're like, well, I'm willing to compromise, I'm willing to do all this and da 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 da, and that's great and that's fine and all, but at the end of the day, they're gonna be the ones feeling like crap because of all the compromising that they've done, you know, just to fit into your life, and that's not fair. And so, you know, take it as it resonates. Do the dang thing. But be very discerning. Because really, the biggest thing that I'm seeing that you're called to is your creativity, right? With the Queen of Wands. In the world, with traveling, right? That might be difficult to take on a relationship if you are creating art and traveling, right? We've got the Hierophant, Taurus energy. And this is about you spiritually leveling up, right? This is about you coming up in more than just that way, right? This is you coming up in the world as well. And we did get the World card. The Hierophant is very grounded, right? This is the energy of promotions, of raises. This is, you know, getting into a career field, taking on a leadership role. This is kind of choosing to be the director of your own life, if you will. And with the Muse of Swords or Muse of Voices, I do see that there are challenges, right? There could be conflicts that arise, complications, obstacles that show up. There could be things that that show up in your path that you have to resolve, right? And I'm feeling that that resolution takes precedence at this time as well. As you're moving forward, you know, it doesn't matter what you're moving towards. There's always going to be some kind of complication in the road, some kind of obstacle. You know, it's like we live a video game life. You have to expect that as soon as things start feeling good, as soon as you start catching all those health packs and stuff, as soon as you're like, hey, I'm starting to feel abundant, things are doing pretty good, then bam, boss fight. Okay? Like, so if you notice that you're catching blessing after blessing after blessing, it comes in threes. Okay? It comes in threes. So, once you get those 3 blessings, just expect there's going to be some kind of obstacle, some kind of challenge, some kind of thing you got to work through. And it might be minuscule. It might not even be that bad. It might, you know, be a flat tire and you're like, well, fuck, it took me, you know, all day to sort this out or whatever. However that is for you. I guess it really depends on if you know how to change a spare, right? And then, like, what about the case where you fix a flat and then the spare is also super low on air, and then you're like, well, fuck, I just fixed the thing just to, you know. And guess what, chicken butt, you can go to a tire place and they'll fill it up for free. It's fine. The best thing you can do in any of these situations, in the good, the bad, all that, take it the same way, right? So, good thing happens. Don't let yourself be consumed by the good thing that happened. Don't be like, oh my god, this is the best thing. Don't allow it to consume you, right? Take it, be grateful for it. Understand that every blessing you take on has its own set of challenges. So, when those challenges show up, instead of being like, oh my god, this is the end of the fucking world, what am I gonna do? Blah, blah. Instead, be like, I expected this. These challenges were expected. I knew it was coming. I knew the obstacles were coming. It's not the end of the world. Everything is figure outable. So like I told Pisces, everything is figure outable. And you work through that. Stay optimistic in all of it, right? In the good times, the bad times, all that. And that doesn't mean positive, right? You're allowed to have your shit days, okay? You're allowed to have those days where you just don't feel good and you just want, you know, everyone to leave you alone. Like, you're allowed to have those days. It's about being optimistic, right? It's about understanding those days won't last forever and that things do inevitably get better. And that's just the ebb and flow of existence. There will be better days, there will be worse days, and it will always do that. It's a fucking wave, bro. And so when you get into the mindset of that, then the challenges don't seem so earth-shattering, right? They don't seem so big and so, like, you know, like, everything just feels figure-outable at that point. So, well, that's funny. The Chariot ended up at the top of the deck. That's Cancer energy. Which is funny that I keep getting this energy that you need to travel, because Chariot is your card, right? It is the card of travel. So there's this energy that you need to tap into the things that fuel your passions, right? And oftentimes, especially for Cancer, that means getting out into the world, traveling, going on day trips, doing what you gotta do. But, like, you know, Cancers very much need that outsideness. They need the new experiences. They need the new, you know, they need that. One of my best friends is a Cancer, and you know, she'll be in Texas one day, she'll be in Oregon the next, and she'll be in California the next week, you know. And it's like, to me, that's just such Cancer energy, that movement, that on the go, that needing to explore and see what the fuck is out there, right? What does the world have to offer? And I think that's, I think it's beautiful. And I'm a Cancer rising, so on a lot of levels, I can relate to that, you know? Alright, and then we have the Wheel of Fortune. And this reminds me of this quote I heard from Matt Damon in a fucking ad. Where he said, "Fortune favors the bold." And that's so true. And so I stick to that. As cheesy and cliche as it might sound, it's so true. And so life is what you make it. If you're going to come at life boldly and unapologetically, then life is going to be beautiful, right? With its challenges and everything. If you're afraid to pursue anything, you're just going to be met with disappointment. And I've never met a Cancer that was afraid to pursue anything. So I see that the Wheel of Fortune is turning in your favor. You're at a very optimal point in your life. And I feel that life wants to gift you experiences and understanding, right? I'm seeing that strongly in this card. You know, this person's coming up here to speak to their deity, and that's where the leveling up comes from. Connecting with the divine and really deciding, like, how do you want your life to look? What do you want that to be like? What do you want it to feel like? And if you're feeling like life isn't that at all, then you need to make the proper changes, right? And that might be hard, and it might be daunting, and it might be completely life altering, and it's important. It's like one of my favorite poems by Charles Bukowski. He said, "If you're going to try, go all the way. You might, it might mean jail, derision, sleeping on a park bench, not eating for 2 days, losing girlfriends, husbands, wives. It might mean jail. It might mean, you know, whatever." And I'm paraphrasing. But if you're going to try, go all the way. Right? And so I'm feeling that energy for you, that you're really being called to go all the way. And this card keeps sticking out, staring me in the face, and it's the Awakening card. And it didn't come out, but it was staring at me from the top of the deck. So I feel right now you gotta follow your heart. You gotta follow your heart's wisdom. You know, you're very intuitive. Alright, so follow your intuition to the ends of the earth, alright? And onward. Right? If you're gonna go to space, go to space. Keep going. And don't be one of those people who stops digging right before they hit gold, right? Don't stop pursuing, don't stop doing things right before you get that breakthrough. You know, persistence makes all the difference in if you succeed at anything, right? Debbie McCauley, no matter what you've done, no matter how many mistakes you've made, Kali is here for you always. Yours is the safety and sanctuary for divine love. She is your soft place to fall and your kindest and most enthusiastic advocate. Let her shift your experience from endless tasks and ever greater expectations into sweet relief and comforting connection. Matangi. She is the tantric queen of outcasts, unveiling the hidden inner power to thrive outside conventional society. If you have been denied love and respect, she brings healing and empowerment. If you have suffered rejection, abandonment, or been labeled as unworthy in any way, she brings dignity and repair. She clears the way for a creative, joyful, and vibrant life path. And that is what I have for you. I hope this was helpful. Namaste. I love you all, and I will see you soon.